Gang, today I'm talking about extreme ownership fails and how even the best of us can fail to be in extreme ownership, even in the most important major areas of our life. But quick note before we get started, this video is sponsored by Lifehack Tribe. Stick around until the end of the video to learn how you can get your very first week in Tribe for just $1. Now, first off, if you have no idea what extreme ownership even is, then pause this video and go check out the video we did earlier this year called Does Taking Extreme Ownership Mean Taking the Blame for Everything? I'll drop a link of that in the description below just to make it easy to go find it. Now, I'm also going to go ahead and drop a link to the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. That book is a total game changer and required reading for everyone who joins our team. But to boil it down, taking extreme ownership of something means that within any team or organization, company, family, whatever, it rests on the leader to take ownership of everything in his or her world, which means that the leader needs to take ownership of everything, even if it wasn't their fault. Now, if you're not taking ownership, it means you are playing the victim. And I know how that sounds. Playing the victim sounds really bad. I'm never a victim. I'm always in ownership. But I can tell you, every single day, we are all being victim to like 100 different things without even knowing it. So how does that happen? How does victimhood hide out in our lives so effectively? Here's the hard truth. Being a victim feels great. When you are a victim, you are flooded with a sense of rightness. Have you ever been in a fight with somebody and you just get flooded with this sense of like, I am so right and you are so wrong? That's victimhood happening right there. Playing the victim is easy, right? You don't have to do anything. You are already relieved of any responsibility for changing the outcome. King, and let me also be clear that nobody is always perfectly a victim or perfectly an owner. Every day we're a mix of both. In fact, let me give you a great example of this in my own world, my own extreme ownership fail. Now, if there's one thing that I am known for, it is for telling everyone to track their time. Literally every single new client that comes in the door that works with me must track 2 weeks of their time in order to start working with me. And I say the same thing over and over, that the time tracker never lies and it always works. And you could tell me over and over again, I swear, Demir, I don't have enough time. But then you track your time and you realize you're spending over 11 hours a week on social media. Boom, time tracker never lies, never fails to produce a result. But then I start working with a personal trainer. And he tells me, hey, the reason you're not losing weight is you're probably eating too much. And I thought, no, well, that can't be. I'm telling you, I'm eating so healthy. I'm exercising. I'm doing everything right. I must have a slow metabolism. I thought I was following all the steps. And he says, we should track our calories for a while. And me, the guy who's obsessed about tracking time, that it never fails and always works, I had a million excuses about why I didn't need to track my calories. Well, for me, it's not important. That's not the problem, right? Redirect. I'm the guy who tells people to track their time, right? So you would think that if I'm doing it over here, I would get it over here, and not at all. Even though I totally understood it in this area of my life, I was completely oblivious to it over here. I was in ownership in one area of my life, and in that very similar area, being a victim. Now, you know where this story goes. Lo and behold, as soon as I started tracking my calories, it became glaringly clear that I was not, in fact, eating as healthy as I thought. And it was, in fact, the problem that I was eating too many calories. And I started eating healthier and the pounds started dropping off. I got the result. And it turns out tracking calories never lies and always works too. So here's a quick hack for discovering where victimhood is hiding out in your life. Ask yourself, are there any areas of my life that I'm complaining about a lot? Areas where I just almost seem to derive pleasure from being able to complain. I promise you, when you are getting pleasure complaining, almost certainly that's an area where you're playing the victim because you're being flooded by that sense of rightness. Quick example. Several years ago, we had an employee who was so smart, just had so much potential. And we just kept waiting for that potential to finally come out. And we kept that person on the team longer than we should have because we were waiting for that amazing potential. But something was missing and we just couldn't figure out what it was. And it was that they weren't taking ownership of anything that went wrong on their watch, like ever. There was always an excuse. It was always somebody else's fault. They could never just say, hey, that happened on my watch, so I take ownership for that happened. I'm sorry, that's on me, I'm gonna fix it. And we kept waiting for the moment like that, and it just never came. And the breaking point was actually when we had all of our employees read the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. And this employee came back and said, yeah, I already know all this stuff. And our minds were like blown. I mean, we knew at that point they had to go. Here's the thing about extreme ownership, gang. You can never set it and forget it, ever. You can never set it and forget it. That's what I want you to take away from this video. You need to be constantly on the lookout, digging, searching for areas in your life where you're slipping and falling into victimhood. There is no extreme ownership autopilot. Period. It's a practice that you have to be doing for the rest of your life. You're either in the virtuous cycle or in the vicious cycle, and there's no in between. Meaning, every facet of your life, you're either choosing to be in ownership, and it's becoming easier and easier for you to see ways to take extreme ownership, or you're choosing to be a victim and you're falling deeper, deeper into constant victim stories. Let's take a quick pause. Today's sponsor is Lifehack Tribe. Gang, Lifehack Tribe's a membership program that we created for you so that you can stop feeling overwhelmed and overworked and disorganized. Each month, we join you in awesome live calls to train you and help you and work with you to be as productive as you humanly can be so that you can go out and create the kind of life that you really deserve to live. So gang, we're offering our viewers a sweet deal right now. If you sign up using the link below, you get your first week in Tribe for just $1 so you can come and join us and check it out and see if we're the kind of community you want to be part of. Now, if you're ready to get it together and create a freedom lifestyle, click the link in the description below. Okay, friends, now I want to understand from you, what is one area of your life where you're playing the victim right now? It could be small, at work, at home, in your social life. Like I said earlier, victimhood is really good at hiding out in the nooks and crannies of our life. So even if you could find something small, that'll get you the practice to start seeing where victimhood is hiding out in your life. Okay, I encourage you, get honest in the comments, but let's be supportive of each other down there, okay? All right, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you love and are just obsessed with human potential like we are and living your best life, consider subscribing to this channel and joining our journey to complete lifestyle freedom. All right, gang, I'll see you in the next video.